Well, good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Robert Adams, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Sergeant Jeanette McNeely. This evening, we warmly welcome the delegation from the Sea Power Centre. As always, we welcome the veterans that have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Northside Christian College from Bundoora in Victoria. If you are able, I now invite you to please stand and join in singing the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they have done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Albert Leslie Meyer. Albert Meyer was born on the 17th of March 1884 in Hahndorf, South Australia. Known as Les, he was one of 9 children born to storekeeper August Meyer and his wife Mary. He spent much of his childhood in Perth, where he attended school. He went to work as a draper's assistant in the city and later relocated to the mining town of Kalgoorlie, where he found employment with drapers Messrs Montgomery & Co. In 1910, he married local woman Lily May Reid, and the young couple later had 2 children together, Dudley and Billy. Les Meyer enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 14th of November 1917. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 28th Battalion and began a short period of training in Australia. He embarked for active service from Fremantle on the 13th of March 1918, sailing on board the troop ship Ormond. Private Meyer arrived in England in mid-May 1918. He was sent to a training camp before being transferred to the ranks of the 51st Battalion in early June. He continued training with his new unit until August, when he was sent to the Western Front, joining his comrades as the Allies made their final push of the war. The 51st Battalion had been raised in Egypt in early 1916 as part of the reorganisation and expansion of the AIF that followed the end of the Gallipoli campaign. Assigned to the 13th Brigade of the 4th Australian Division, it was sent to France in June 1916 and fought in the Battle of Mouquet Farm during August and September, suffering heavy casualties. In 1917, the 51st Battalion took part in the fighting in Belgium at Messines and Polygon Wood. In April 1918, the battalion fought in the successful counterattack at Villers-Bretonneux. Its final campaign on the Somme began on the 8th of August, as it took part in a series of attacks on enemy positions as the Allies pushed the Germans back towards the outskirts of Péronne and Mont-Saint-Quentin. By September, the 51st Battalion was holding the front line near the French town of Vermont. The men were attacking enemy positions on the 15th of September, attempting to capture the machine gun and trench mortar posts. Throughout their advance, they came under heavy shelling and machine gun fire, including from enemy aircraft which bombed their lines. Private Meyer was hit during the advance and was killed in action. Peace would be declared less than 2 months later. Private Albert Meyer was buried near where he fell at Jeancourt Communal Cemetery, where his remains lie today, beneath the words chosen by his grieving wife, "God be with you until we meet again." He was 34 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour of my right amongst more than 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Albert Leslie Meyer, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières on the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, we thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.